In 1972, the Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was an unusual punishment and in violation of the 8th and 14th Amendment. However, in 1976, that was overturned by the Supreme Court, and they did state that it was not in violation of the Constitution. 104 countries have opted out of using the death penalty since 2016, and in 2016, only 3,117 people were put to death under the death penalty in only 55 countries. Although this is extremely rare, think of a situation of somebody who has been convicted of a crime and are being executed or have already been executed, but they're actually innocent. That was the case for Cameron Todd Willingham. DeathPenaltyInfo.org did release a statement stating that Mr. Willingham was executed in Texas in 2004 for setting a fire to his home that killed his 3 daughters. However, after his execution had already happened, there was evidence that did prove his innocence. There's no bringing back Mr. Willingham, and there's nothing you can do, and that's why the death penalty should be abolished for mistakes like this. You should never have to have somebody who's innocent have their life taken away. The National Academy of Sciences also conducted a study, and they stated that at least 4.1% of defendants who are sentenced to death in the United States are actually innocent. Although that number is extremely low, and it is only 4.1%, that's still 4.1% of people who are innocent that are put to death for no actual reason. So who's better in this situation? Somebody who's committed a crime, or the government putting somebody to death for something that they've never done that should have never happened? There is also a huge misconception in that the death penalty lowers murder rates. There has been no actual study that proves that the death penalty does lower murder rates. However, Canada did have a statement that was released in 2016, and they stated that in 1976, they abolished the death penalty and that murder rates have been slowly declining. And as of 2016, murder rates have been the lowest it's ever been since 1966. That's a huge statement, and that does prove that the death penalty should be abolished. Medical doctors are also used in the execution of a criminal. The only way to have somebody executed is to have a medical doctor that's licensed to be able to commit this execution. However, that goes against all the morals for a doctor. They get their medical board's belief on a belief system stating that they are supposed to do no harm. They are supposed to heal people and not execute someone. The way that somebody's executed is through lethal injection. Lethal injection is considered to be an extremely peaceful way to go. According to Health 24, more and more countries are opting for lethal injection rather than other methods of execution for a number of reasons. The main reasons is that it's less painful and less messy. So why should somebody who has murdered someone get to go so peacefully? They should be sitting in a jail cell for the rest of their life in a confined space and never being able to get let out. Also, the death penalty is extremely expensive, and according to debate.org, California spends $4 billion in cases a year for the death penalty. This chart here, if you want to take a look, shows the breakdown of what California spends on each section of a criminal trial for the execution. So 42%, which is $1.94 billion, is spent in pre-trial and trial costs. So that's even before the trial begins. Then 20%, which is $925 million, is in appeals. Then more appeals go for more of the government appeals, which is 17%, and that's $775 million. And then 22% of that is just the incarceration alone for the criminal. This is why the death penalty should be abolished. It is morally wrong.